us online, and as many of us as are on site. Thank you all very much for coming out. And without much ado, I'm going to bring up the first guest speaker. He's my guy. This kind of person where I say, this guy gets sense. Simple. The guy gets sense. If you hang around him, if you see him do things, I'll give you one example. During the lockdown, many of us were on lockdown, right? He was running things. Somebody stepped into this place yesterday and saw him. I said, I know this guy. Ebuka, the guy who put up this thing. I said, I know this guy. We are doing this. It's an aluminium guy. We are doing this. While we were all locking down. I didn't send you my account number. I don't even know why I didn't send you. Some people were making money in the lockdown. He's that smart, a business strategist he would love to share some time with. For those who have dealt with him and know him, they know that he has these things, ideas plus execution coming out from here and there. So it's my pleasure to welcome my very good friend, my very, very good friend, my guy. Please put your hands together for Ebuka Anichebe. Thank you all. Please put your hands together. For those of you online, send us your clap.
Thank you very much, Ken. Appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Are we correctly? Good morning. Excellent. Thank you very much, Ken, for that generous welcome. Good morning, sir. My chairmen are here as well, so I have to greet them. Everyone, good morning. I want to spend the next 30 minutes, me time myself properly, just sharing with you some ideas that should make your 2022 better than your 2021, hopefully, and moving forward. These ideas, I have used them for myself and my businesses, and I'm hoping that you can also use them. My topic today, which Ken gave to me to talk about, was longevity in business, and I was thinking to myself, well, how long have you been in business that you should be talking about longevity, you know? Should you be there for 100 years, 50 years, 30 years before you feel qualified to talk about it? And it occurred to me, well, I've been doing what I've been doing, speaking and trainings for the last 15 years. And, well, that seems like such a long time now. In videos earlier on, because some of the topics I used to talk about then, I don't talk about them anymore. So I sat down today with my wife and we're having breakfast. And next week is our 10th year wedding anniversary. And I said, wait, I've been married? No. She's 30 years, no, 10. And I said, wait, I can't believe I've been married to you for 10 years. 10 whole years, you know? And so you're like, well, time flies. I said, well, time you're having fun. She laughed, is it fun? Anyway, that was a bit of a banter. But I realized that there's some things that are the same secrets that will give you a long-lasting marriage can also be applied in business, and that's what I want to talk about today. But before we talk about that, I want us to see it in two ways, okay? Number one will be the idea of, I don't want to just tell you strategies on longevity in business, because it's not just so much about the strategies, it's also about the person behind those strategies. You get the point? It's not so much about the strategy. Somebody can tell you a strategy, but if you do not have the mindset, right, and the skill sets, then you will never be able to execute the strategy. So you can hear a strategy, but you can't execute on the strategy because you're not yet there. And when I say there, is you don't have the attitude yet and the requisite knowledge to execute on that. And so, first of all, before we talk about the knowledge part, let's dwell first on the attitude part, because that's the spiritual part of man that enables him to do. And not everybody, some people, and that's why, I guess when Ken was talking about the ideas rule the world, yes, to a fact, ideas do rule the world, especially when they've been executed. And has anybody here heard about the agency of ideas? Anybody heard about agency of ideas? But agency, like house agents, agency, right? Agency of ideas. Have you heard about that before? Okay, so it's something I came up with. You've not heard about it, but I just came up with it. So, well, the agency of ideas is just the same way if you're trying to sell a house, if today you put your house on the market, do you tell only one person and go to bed? No, you make a list of every of your friend who you know may have somebody interested or who is an housing agent. And you tell them, look, I have this house for sale. It's 30 million naira. It's in Lugbe and I want to sell it in case you're interested. I'm the owner. Right? And I'll tell you, 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 and I'll tell you. And I'll tell everybody. Why? Because if on the off chance you don't sell, even if I told you on Monday, and I tell her on Tuesday and she does sell, what do you think will happen? Do I come back to pay you because I told you about it? No. She will get the commission for having brought a successful deal on the table. End of story. And it's the same thing for your ideas. When God whispers those ideas in your ears, He doesn't tell only you. He doesn't tell only you. He tells him, he tells him, he tells him, he tells him. And he tells about 7 people in the world. Because some people will get the idea, maybe they're out in the beer parlor, they're drinking beer, and they will tell their guy, oh boy, I just reason one thing, that's now. And they will talk about the idea. Oh, how about we do X, Y, Z? They say, oh, mad, oh, mad, oh, mad, oh, mad, oh, mad. Hey, but that's where it ends. Mad, oh. And that's where it ends. It not pass like that. You say, oh, this guy, the reason, Kai. This guy, the reason where, the reason deep. And so your reward for that idea at that time is nothing but flattery. Flattery, that's all. That's where it ends. Right? Some people will go further. They won't just tell their friends when they're drinking. They'll go home and tell their wife about it and say, you know, this idea, if you do a egg, we could blow. You know, so the other day, I'm going to give you real life examples because I consider myself an ideas person. When I was growing up, in fact, my mom used to call me Joseph the Dreamer, you know, because I used to come up with all these ideas, and they were both business people, my mom and my dad. So I'll come up with ideas of how they can do this and do that, and they'll say, oh, Joseph the Dreamer, you just dream of all these outlandish dreams. And then they didn't call it ideas, they call it dreams, right? Because I was too young to even know what ideas were, so we were just like dreams. And I'll say, oh, we should do this, and we should do that, and we should do that. I say, oh, this boy, you dream too much, you know? And they keep me in one place. Well, now, as I grew up, I now realized you can turn your ideas into dreams. I mean, your dreams into ideas, and you can package your ideas in such a way that they don't just serve you, they serve a larger community. And my point is this. If you realize that you're an idea person, or maybe your execution, you're poor on execution, all hope is not lost. All hope is not lost. Because when God gives you ideas, He gives another person the power to actually go out and convert your ideas into tangibles. We call that a producer. And God likes people working together. He doesn't want to give you the ideas, the power, and the connections. No, He will give one person the ideas. He will give another person the power to go out executing the ideas. He will give somebody else a connection to make those ideas come to life. Your job is to connect those dots. That's your job. And it's not always easy to do, because when He gives you an idea, and He gives you a vision of what this idea could relate to, because number one, you get the idea, and then you get the vision of where this idea may propel you to. Right? The challenge is that He doesn't give that same vision to everybody. And so you may go to somebody with the vision of your idea, and they may not see it because you were the one giving the vision, not the other people. And so you have to get working on it. And you have to get working on it. And you have to get working on it. And as you get working on it, you start to get what my friend will call vision partners. And the vision partners have to come and they gravitate towards your ideas. They start to believe and bring their own little resources. And next thing you know, you have all the provision to make your vision possible. My point is this. Get yourself, if you do not have the ideas, partner with somebody that does have an idea. Right? Because you have a role to fill, and people fall into one of these 3 categories. You're either the idea generator, you're either the producer, or even the critic in your family, right? That will say, this thing no go fit work, oh. They have a role to play. But just don't put them in the same room with the dreamer. Put them after the producer has produced something and put that person, call the person quality assurance manager, right? Because they will ensure that you don't go and make an embarrassment of yourself. And you need them. Because the worst thing you want to do is to go out there in the marketplace and bring an idea that flops because it wasn't thoroughly checked through in-house. Has anybody used the CBN e-Naira? Anybody here? Anybody? One person? Nobody has used it because it's not an idea that was thoroughly checked out. And so they started with a lot of problems, starting from the name, e-Naira, right? The owner of the name sued them and said, look, that's my name, I have a copyright for this. So they didn't even do enough, from the name. So the trademark issues, everything else just went sliding down and they spent billions on that. Right? So that's one thing. So let's talk about what are the attitudes, therefore. What attitudes should you have when thinking of an idea so that you do not end up just in the point where you are stuck with ideas and your wallet is empty, your bank account is empty, your kids are struggling to pay their school fees, but you're an ideas person. You don't want to do that. 2 days ago, I was sitting down with a couple of friends, and somebody came up with an idea. You see, my friends are very idea-driven as well. And so we're sitting down, somebody came up with an idea, not so much a fresh idea, as much as it is only new in this part of the world. And he says, how about we do Real Housewives of Abuja? Right? And I said, Real Housewives of Abuja, that sounds interesting. Right? But we can't do it in the same way with the Real Housewives of Miami or Atlanta, right? Because we have to make it so tailored to the market. So we trashed around the idea for about an hour. I made some phone calls, called people that, like a videographer, that could actually execute this. And in less than 3 hours, I had like a plan of a budget that would work. And the original guy that had the idea was like, no go leave me behind though. And I'm like, and I'm like, no, I'm just, this is how I think, this is how I think now I've gone, and I realize I've gone past the idea generation stage. And so if you tell me an idea, then you have to flesh it out. It can't just be a good idea. It has to be, okay, is it reasonable? Can we make money from this? How soon can we make money from this? Who are the likely, and I can do a stakeholder analysis of who may benefit from this idea that we have to get on board now. And I think everybody should be encouraged to do so. So as you come along, you will listen to other very great speakers who I know are building very successful companies, and you will learn from them how they've been able to. My friend Abioye, was telling me earlier in the lobby that, look, I really, really appreciate you because you've shown that no matter how big your dream is, it's possible, right? And you're an embodiment of determination. Because I knew you when all you had was a dream, and now I'm seeing buildings all over town with your dream on it, and that's compelling in itself, right? And it's a testament to how ideas truly can be global, and if you dare to pursue it. But what does it take? Because I'm sure a lot of people have done things like, anybody done multi-level marketing before? Multi-level marketing. GNLD, we start with GNLD, back in the day. When we moved to Forever Living Products, and from Forever Living Products, we moved to EdMark, and from EdMark we moved, and sold quite a couple of them. We moved, that's what we moved, right? We kept moving. But when only one person has thought about, look, let's do the same thing for real estate markets. And when he talked about it, I know a lot of people were like, yeah, I'm sure you're going, what's that? What are you talking about? But then, if you have the right attitude, your ideas are possible. So, I want to talk about what are the right attitude, what are the steps to take. The first thing is your ability to, one second, I hope this is working. Is it? Okay, it's working. The first thing is your ability to, first of all, learn. And when I say learn, the world is changing at an ever fast pace. The difference between me and you is going to therefore be what we know in our head and the raw materials we feed ourselves with. What are the raw materials you feed yourself with? So when time to make a tough decision comes, you're ready, and you have different mental models through which you can pass through your thinking to hold it and test it for rigor. And yes, sometimes tough things will happen, but how you respond to those tough things would only, it's not at that moment that you want to be strong. You want to be strong way before that moment happens, because it will happen. And while I wish you well, I'm telling you, it will happen. Right? Those tough decisions will come. People will betray you. Business will go down. Things won't pan out the way you thought they will pan out. Right? Regardless of how well written your business plan was, when you come to the market, you may realize you're too late or you're too early. Right? Or somebody bigger may come and even want to swallow up your fish. And so it's how you respond at that point that determines who you are. But then it's too late if you've not yet ready. It's like going to face to face with an agbero in a fight and you've never taken any boxing classes. Is it then you want to call on the God of David and Israel to teach you karate? You first get beaten first. And so your first job is to ensure that you have a lust and a big, voracious appetite for learning. And I don't care, I'm not going to tell you, oh, you should read books, because I realize that not everybody likes to read books, right? So some people, they rather listen. And if you realize you're more visual person, then every day make it a habit to at least watch 30 minutes of something visual that can teach you. And YouTube is a great place for doing that, right? You have tons and tons of great people that have documented their knowledge. There's really nothing you can learn on the University of YouTube. Nothing. Nothing. My staff was asking me that day, how do you know all these things? I said, YouTube. There's nothing you can learn on YouTube. You can learn how to do coding on YouTube. You can learn how to do egusi soup on YouTube. You can learn how to do event decoration. What can't you learn? But it's now dependent on, I say, when people say, okay, so if it's so easy, why is everybody not doing this? They say, because not everybody knows the right questions to ask. And the questions you learn to ask, right, will determine how far you go. So those questions you learn on, people ask Google all kinds of stuff. But you should stop really Googling things like, oh, is Naira Marley a better musician than Portable? Because when you, if that's your social, what you're doing your time to do, then you quite never grow. But when you can take out your time and start asking better questions, and you see an opportunity and you want to learn, how big is this opportunity? For example, wall cladding. Wall cladding. Most buildings now do wall cladding. Like, not most buildings. But I'm willing to bet, and I'll tell you this. I was passing the other day and I saw that, well, on your streets, so close your office, and I saw that some buildings had wall cladding, some didn't. And I was willing to bet that because of the kind of acid rain we're experiencing in Nigeria, most buildings, especially in places like down in the south, would need wall cladding. Architects, are you listening? Most businesses, I'm willing to predict this, most businesses will need wall cladding over the next 10 years than will paint. Because they realize that if you clad your walls, your building, number one, looks modern. Number two, it's easier to just clean and it will always look new, as opposed to you painting every 2 years or every 3 years in order to get that same effect. So most official buildings especially would switch to that. And it's a new emerging market, right? Even if it has been existent in other countries for a long time. For us here in Nigeria, it's still new. And you want to get, if you're an engineer, you want to be above, like on top of that market already, as a trend. When you see it happening, you don't wait and say, well, I don't know, I say this thing costs well, people don't get money, and you're assuming that they don't have money for yourself. No, you go and learn it. You don't say, no, I'm only doing aluminum like this. You go and learn it first. The moment you see a trend emerging, you learn it first and you're upfront. So the person that Mr. Ken was talking about yesterday, if I know him correctly, the fine guy, young chap, and during the lockdown from 2020, when everybody was at home and they were scared, I realized that churches were buying these disinfection chambers. You know those disinfection chambers, right? They told me that Dunamis had bought their own, and they said, how much they buy? They said 16 million naira. I said, what? They said, yeah, they bought 4. I said, wonderful. The next thing he said, Koza had bought, and he had bought from Dubai, and he was bringing it, and he bought for 99 million naira, and it was cheaper than Dunamis one. And I was like, wonderful. So next thing I realized that a lot of people were afraid of this coronavirus thing, unlike all of you here, right? And they were basically spending a lot of money out of the fear. And I said, what is this thing? So I had to take a drive to go to where one of them was installed. And I took pictures and I did videos. Then I went back and I said, well, if we are spending 9 million naira on this thing, why can't we build it back home? And so I went out on the streets and I got to this Jabi here, just down there. There are a lot of people that do aluminum products, and I called them and so I met a fine guy and said, look, I want to show you something and I want us to try and build it. So I got the aluminum guy and I got an electrician, right? And I said, this is what we want to build. And I explained to them. And so we did a first draft and we built that for 800,000. And we sold it to a church for 1.5 million. And then I realized, wow, this can work. And so before we started building the lot, and I said, okay, why is it even so bulky, so bulky? And so I did one that was just as simple as a goalpost. It's just a goalpost, just like this. Because I realized you just need things to spray you. So why are we spending all this money? So we built that we drew a new design. We did it for 160,000, and we're selling it for 600,000. And so it became like a bestseller. People were buying it. So that's why we're making money during the lockdown. It was really good business until you Nigerians decided not to be afraid of COVID anymore. So that business went away. However, my point is this. When you see a new idea developing, your job at that point, we're talking about speed and execution, right? Your job is to jump on it. It's not to follow your friends to admire and say, hey, yeah, this thing is nice, so hey, I'm sure you're making money. Who is they? No, who is they? The moment you see something evolving, you want to study it and ask yourself, do I have the skills? Do I have the knowledge? Do I have the network to capitalize on this? And even if you cannot personally build it, you can go and partner with who is building it or who has already built it and still get value from that. Am I making sense? I want this to be as practical as possible because it's not so much. Sometimes people see us come on stage and then we talk, and then they may think that all we do is talk, right? I'm just telling you, I'm going to share with you my own examples, not to brag or to try to impress you, but to let you know that this is how it works, and this is what we do, and if we can do it, because trust me, I don't even change the light bulb in my house. That's just me. I'm not a technical person. So you may see me and you think I'm an engineer. I'm not even an engineer. I'm not, none of those things. But I can conceptualize an idea and I can bring a team together and I can motivate them with my words that we can do this and create value for everybody else. So you don't have to be the person that is a chemist, do you understand, or botanist to go and start a food company because if you have the insight that this may work, then by all means, God didn't give you that idea for you to be an agent. It's like somebody comes to tell you, Oga, take this house, go and sell. Then you carry the picture to the house and you keep it on your phone and it's gathering cyber dust. You have to advertise. You have to send to your people. You have to work. And then you can get the reward from that work. The ideas will not pay you. It's the execution of those ideas and the selling of those ideas that will pay you off. Next move. I'm talking about attitude right now before we talk about the skill. You remember I said, talk about the attitude first, then we'll talk about the skills. Next attitude you should have is never stop improving. Let me ask you the question. This year, what do you hope to learn? What do you hope to learn this year? Like a new skill. A new skill you hope to learn this year. So if you're a photographer, what do you want to layer now as a new skill this year? Beyond just the photography. You already have that. It's on lockdown. How do you layer on top of this? Is it going to be the editing of the photography? Right? What's going to be the next thing that when somebody calls you to the table, what makes you unique is the layer of skills you have. And that's what's going to differentiate you so that you're not like somebody that says, okay, I want cake. Then you go out and you want to buy cake. If you see cake and you see vanilla cake, and somebody's vanilla cake, right? You wanted cake at the first, but now you have vanilla cake. And then you have somebody else who wants vanilla cake, but much more like marble cake. But they have very layers, right? So you have strawberry with a hinge of vanilla and a tint of this and chocolate. And now you have 6-in-1 cake. Which one would you prefer, Beck? It's 6-in-1. So, and you are willing to even pay extra value for the 6-in-1, even though all you wanted was cake. But suddenly you're seeing a cake that has 6 different flavors. as opposed to just one flavor. So don't be vanilla. Don't be vanilla. Say, I refuse to be vanilla. No, you're not saying this. I say, I refuse to be vanilla. You can't be vanilla. I see many people that they are vanilla. Nothing to choose from. They're the same with the next person. So, I mean, if you don't do it, somebody else will do it, right? Because you're vanilla, because there's nothing distinguishing about you. Why? Because you've refused to improve yourself beyond the level where you currently are. And you think it's enough. When you're in your 20s, what you want to be doing is to be working as hard as possible to ensure you're not vanilla, so that in your 30s you enjoy your life. You'll be sought after, people will look for you, opportunities will be drawn and attracted towards you simply because you have every year you must choose a new skill you want to learn. I don't care what that skill is. If you think of your trajectory and what you want to do, choose every year to learn a new skill. This year I'm learning how to do acting. Yes, acting. It's a new skill. I know, yeah, everyone says, My wife said, I say, yeah, acting. Because when we come on stage, it would be nice to put a bit of drama into it, right? And actors already know how to do the method acting. So how about you add that as a skill? And you infuse it into what you already have so that you're different from every other person. And you can bring something new to the table so that you don't just say, oh, I'm a speaker, and I only want to learn how to speak. What about you bring something else different? And so you can keep learning every time to have a new skill. Let's say I learned about photography. I mean, I'm learning. I'm not saying I'm learning these things to go and change my course of my life and become a photographer. No, I'm doing it because now I can see the world through lens. And I have unique perspectives on that. And so I may not know when I would need to do it. But maybe 5 years down the line, I become a minister, right? And I say, well, we need to document Nigeria in a different thing and tell a different story. I'm able to speak the language that will bring the people I need around me. Are we together? Your skills, you don't learn because you want to eat tomorrow. You learn because when you blend what you already know with the new learnings you have, new insights come through. So never ending improvements should be your mantra. What am I going to learn this year? Just choose something that you can devote some time to. 4 hours a week is enough. 4 hours a week is even too. Like, you can learn a new skill altogether. And that becomes you. That becomes your story. You become a legend in that respect. Next is your ability to, sorry, I have to go back because I think I jumped. Right, good. Take care of your health. Everybody, you have to realize this is like very core skill. You must take care of your health because without your health, all your wealth will count on nothing. It will turn to ashes in your mouth. Right? Especially the men amongst us. Take care of your health more. Women outlive men. Right? Or like, yes. 9 out of 10 times, women will outlive. The man will die. The woman will come. That's why there's many wealthy landladies. Right? Because eventually the man will die after he has work. 60, 50, he dies. Then she comes and inherits the earth. See, the Bible says the weak will inherit the... and she inherits the earth. So take care of your health. Have a vision for how long you want to live. And make a commitment that you want to live to 80 years old. If you make a commitment to yourself that you want to live till 80, I'm not saying you will live to 80 because nobody knows tomorrow. This house can fall down now. Right? But it will shape your decisions towards what you need to do. So if you have to do 50 push-ups every morning, you do that. If you have to drink much more water in a day, you do that as opposed to drinking agbo and drinking Coke and Fanta and whatever you may be drinking. Right? But just by making your health a priority, not only do you look better than 80% of the population if you're in a much more healthier shape, but you would also live longer to enjoy the fruits of your labor. This is important. You can't talk about longevity in business without talking about longevity of your own life. Of your own life. So I thought that was important because I used to ignore this and I used to think, and I used to be very lopsided that I would only focus on building my mental and emotional health. But recently I started to change that approach because everything has to be in moderation, everything has to be in balance. And there's no point you being the wisest sick man. There's really no point you being the wisest sick man. I mean, he would know, right? At the height of Apple's success, and he goes down. And of course, it was not no plan of his. It was kidney cancer, and it was horrible, all of that. But there was no point you having all the billions and billions and billions and accolades in the world if you're going to die and not see the extent to what your vision once was. But I want to tell you this. This is part of what I think is an attitude that only you can have. If you're a founder, or you hope to be a founder, then ensure that whatever course you have, whatever course you choose to have, whatever dreams you choose to follow, that is for a noble cause, and it aligns with your own values of what you have to have a value. And when you have that value, people will thank you for it. Because if you can live according to your values, regardless of what may happen, you don't give up so easily. You don't fold and run and, they say, this thing, the economy has a recession. You say, no, I know if you sell clothes again, no. You know, say recession, who they buy clothes for recession? Who they buy house for recession? And you run away. Why? Because it's not aligned to your values. But if you imagine that what I'm doing is beyond just this, this is a medium to something else, and you realize everything is a medium to something else. You may be selling clothes, but you're not really selling clothes. You're selling confidence. Right? You may be selling food, but you're not really selling food. Right? You may be selling well-being. And that's what you really want, well-being of the people that are eating your food. So it tells in what you choose as ingredients, from the oil you use and all of that stuff. But you're really selling well-being. So find the cause, and then you can find a vehicle that will lead you towards that cause. Every business should be built around that, because those are the ones that eventually attain this longevity, because they are not afraid to switch lanes. They are not afraid to adapt when things call for it. Because they realize, what's our cause? Our cause is not to open a radio station. Our cause is to create enlightenment and educative programs. So we don't just say, we're a radio program. We will not change. But you're seeing social media is going all around you and changing the way the order of the game. No, you adopt that, you include that into what you're doing. So find a worthy cause. Find a cause for your business. So when I do public speaking, I have a training company. Well, beyond the training company, I also have other companies. But when my training company, I say, personally, my life, my cause is to see self-actualization of everybody around me. That's my own cause. Self-actualization of everybody around me is my cause. I believe in it. I do it every single day of my life. If you know me, you know that every day I'm impacting. Every day. Every single day. When I'm on the hospital bed, I'm doing the same thing. I cannot not do it. It's a mission. It's my mission. It's my own way of... It doesn't pay me the best in all my businesses, but I love it the best because it's a cause. Are we together? So if you ask me why have you been in this thing for so long, I'm going to tell you, what else is there to do? What else? Yes, there are 1,000 other things you can do, but do they give you as much fulfillment and joy and satisfaction as this? If the answer is no, then that's your cause, and you do it as much as you can. Because in doing it, you'll keep getting better and better and better, and very soon you become like top 5% in your industry. And that's something worth looking forward to. So find the cause. Why do I do what I do? I was watching a documentary the other day, and it was about the first self-made female millionaire. I don't know if you watched the documentary of the first self-made female millionaire. It's a series on Netflix. And the story of this woman that was doing hair cream, a black woman, right? And she was once she grew up from slave homes, grew up and beautiful story. And the reason why she became so successful as the first millionaire in the US, whether black or white, she was selling hair products for black women because she lost her hair out of stress, and her husband kicked her out and said she looked like a mangy dog, and it really hurt her self-esteem, and she added weight and all of those issues, right? And she said she would not allow any other woman experience the same pain that she felt by losing her hair. And the Bible says something about hair. Hair is a crown of glory, right? So she said she would never allow that to happen again, and she went and did the formula that helped women regrow even after losing it, and that was her idea. Her idea was the hair growth, was the mission, her cause was in order to restore the dignity in the black woman. That was her cause. So regardless of the fact that her first factory went on, got burned, her second husband cheated on her with one of her best managers, all of those issues didn't deter her. She still went ahead because she had a cause. It's your cause that will pull you through the hard times. So, right, don't forget it. Money is not the cause of your business. You did not open business to make money. We open the business to make money. No, money is the outcome, but not the cause. You must have something that is bigger than just money. Are we together? Now let's move to the skills. We talked about the attitude first, right? The attitude that you have to have if you want to really have longevity in your field, regardless of what field that is. So let's switch to the other side and talk about what skills then can you start to build, right? What knowledge must you master if this is going to work for you? First thing will be, I will tell you just some things I think works. Some of the things that work. There are many other things. So people say secrets to success. There's no secrets. It's just what you choose to do, right? First thing is your ability to have and build an ecosystem. To build an ecosystem. What is a business ecosystem? I mean, you all know what an ecosystem is, right? In nature, it's the harmony between things in nature. How the water fertilizes the grass and the trees, right? And how the fruits and the birds and all of that, they help each other, and it just goes, it's like a circle of life. But in business, you also have to build your own ecosystem. And the business ecosystem is an arrangement between your different stakeholders, right? That may have their own different individual businesses. However, they come together in synergy for the collective value to be created and redistributed amongst members. That's what a business ecosystem. In other words, if you, for example, you decide, I want to lose weight, and you get around yourself 5 women that are also on this journey to lose weight. That's an ecosystem. It's a losing weight ecosystem, if you like. But what will happen is that she's going to read something that you've not read. She's going to drop it on the group. She's going to read something you're going to drop it on the group. And at the collective value of all that knowledge that everybody else is distributing in the group, everybody gets value from it. It doesn't detract from me, right? It adds to you. And you have to have it. Don't do it alone. Business is too, there's so much knowledge out there for you to want to attempt to do it alone. So you either build your ecosystem or you go and find one and belong in it and start contributing in it. I've built ecosystems. I belong to ecosystems. So I do a bit of both. You don't always have to be the creator. Sometimes you just go and join. If you see something that you believe in, then you join them. So if you're new in business, for example, you say, what's an ecosystem? I'll tell you, okay, for example, find a Rotary Club. If your Rotary Club is a good ecosystem, right? You find a Rotary Club, you belong in it, you share with the members. If you're the kind of giver, you give as well. Next thing you know, you have businesses you can be talking about with your members. If you like exercising, you join a hiking club, right? And you go out on hike, and today you climb this mountain, tomorrow somebody will tell you, oh, have you climbed this other mountain in Ushafa? You go and climb Ushafa mountain. Next thing you climb all the mountains in Nigeria, right? Looking for the next mountain to climb. And you may start going to Kenya to start climbing new mountains, who knows? But you have to. Because now that will motivate you. Even the days where you don't feel like climbing, somebody will tell you, come now, come, and they will come to your gate and they will pick you up. Now you can't even say no, even though you're feeling depressed. 2 seconds later, you're climbing the mountain, you start to feel all the emotions just disappear. Simply because you have an ecosystem. So please don't do business alone. When you have a business, think of who are my stakeholders, who would like to be, who has resources that I can benefit from and they can also benefit from my resources. And then you build an ecosystem that you plug into that, right? Don't sit down and say, well, these people must come to me. So not everybody has to be your client. Some people have to be your partners. Some people will be your suppliers. Some people will be your references, because where their business stops, yours starts. So say, for example, I know somebody in this audience that does culinary school. Don't sit down and say, okay, I'll wait for them to come and say they want to train. No. No, you go and find everybody, right? Whether you go to even marriage classes and say, well, we have culinary schools in case your wife or your husband wants to learn how to cook. This is it, right? And they say, well, we can do it in the competition, right? Man and woman cook and see which one is better. But now you're advertising your this because it's an ecosystem, right? You can go to people that do event centers and say, look, we have this. You have event centers, we have this. And you find that and you create, if you like, a hospitality hub with you at the top. But you must create your own ecosystem. I have my own ecosystems for real estate, right? I belong to his ecosystem for real estate as well. He builds a very fantastic one. And then so on and so forth. I have a book club because I'm interested in people reading, and I know readers are leaders. So we started a book club many years ago. I have some of my members here as well, right? And it helps in many ways than one for every member, including you, that's curated that. So please, by all means, make it a point of duty. 2022, belong to an ecosystem or start one. You either belong in one, start one yourself. If you don't see what you like, that means you're seeing something that is not yet in existence. So you're already a visionary. So there's already an idea in you that is begging for expression. And that's why you're not seeing what you want. So it's up to you now to build it. Because if you don't build it, I'll tell you what happens. One day, you're going to be driving on the road. Then you will see your idea on a billboard. Has that happened to you before? You will see your idea that you had in your head on a billboard. Then you'll be touching the person. Say, Ken. You see that? Ken, now my idea be that. They don't farm. And you'll be looking like a madman. Because you did not execute. So how was it your idea? You are an agent. You are an agent. So it's like one day you're going to be passing, this house is for sale, you're going to be passing there, you see the new owners are entering into the house. You say, wait, but now me get this brief now. And you call the owner and say, okay, that house, they don't sell them. It doesn't work. So you have to work the work. All right? The next thing is write a book. You want longevity? Write a book. It doesn't have to be a book. It could be a magazine. It could be articles, right? It could be a documentary you start. But you have to leave something behind that your mortal state can go, but it will remain. And I think I think with book, right? You can write a book, you can write several books, but your books will long outlive you. One, if you die and your children are not yet of age to understand the wisdom and depth of which you have, it's when you die they will read your books and they will understand the man that grandpa was. Who was grandpa? If they don't know who grandpa was, then they read the book, right? And that's forever a testimony of who you were. So write a book, if possible, and document your knowledge. And that will guarantee you longevity, not just in business, but also in the afterlife. Somebody said every man has to die twice. Every man has to die twice. The first time you die is the day you're pronounced dead. The second time you die is the last time somebody mentions your name. So don't let that be too soon. Right? And for me, I said I don't like to die with any popular person. You know, I don't like to die with a popular person. If I'm going to die, I want to die alone, by myself. I don't want to die and they will say, could be and 7 others. No. Nico and her friend, you know? And they call, nobody cares about who the 7 others. No, if I want to die individually. So they don't just say, oh, 20 souls perished. I don't want to be a soul. Call my name, let them know. Right? Why? Because it is an individual thing to have lived. And when you die, right, it should be also be an investment for them to feel your loss. I'm not saying that, people that died in Titanic and the rest of them, natural disasters, God bless their souls. But you get my point. You want to live in such a way that even long after you've gone, people are still remembering you for, oh, now this guy, when this guy there around, they do X, Y, Z. And you have to have something that people miss. They have to miss you. You're like fuel. when you're not in circulation, your value should go up. When you're not in circulation anymore, your value should go up. When DMX died, right? All his song values went up. Same thing for Michael Jackson. The moment he died, things go up. Because now they realize there's no more of you. When you die, people should rush to your Facebook page and start downloading all your information. Right? Because they know that there's no more. They're not going to see these videos anymore. Who knows whether the family will choose to take down the videos and curate them and start selling them as DVD packs? Who knows? So you have to be sure that you're not going to be here forever, and live and conduct yourself as such, so that even after you die, there's still value and your imprints on earth are forever documented. Are we together? Let's move on. Start an award. Oh, for longevity, you can begin an award for your industry. For your own industry, start an award. And you highlight people within your industry that are doing a great job, and you set the bar, and you become the standard measure of what a great job is. Are we together? You become the standard measure of what it is to be a great job. I don't care whether you're just, or you say, no, I'm too small to do this, and who told you? You started. And before you know, people like getting an award, because business is a competitive sport. People like getting an award. They will apply, people will nominate them, and they will strive to be there. And then you can give them for those that are runner-ups, you tell them this is the criteria, so you can win next year. And now they start to live by those criteria. Whose criteria? That's you. So you've become the standard measure in your industry. So start one. Start an award. It doesn't have to be an award. When I say an award, it could be also be even just a list, bestseller list for every month. And you can do it as a magazine, right? And you say, oh, top 10 this, and top 5 that, and top 6 this. And next thing you know, first time people may ignore you. Second time they will say this person is consistent. Third time, before you know, you become the standard measure. People start looking out for your lists. I know that because I've tried this. When I did Abuja Shelter magazine, right? We started this whole idea of real estate and getting the best developers and ranking them. And it was like, okay, first time people were like, oh, these startups, right? But before you know, we started getting all the real developers across Abuja. And then you become, if you want longevity, that's the key. When everybody around the industry is suddenly lobbying to be on your list, what does that make you? You're the most connected person. You're the most connected person in the room. So these are just some of the strategies you can start to implement with your stakeholders, your team, right? And say, okay, fine, what can we do differently? And if you don't want to do an award, you can start a movement. A movement is so much similar to an ecosystem, but a movement is even bigger in the sense that anybody can join a movement if it's big enough, right? And you can start a movement and it could turn to a trend, right? And you can set the movement for boy-child education, for example, because I think the boy child is being neglected. Everybody's focusing on girl child, right? We do need the boy child, otherwise the boys are not going to grow themselves and train themselves. Somebody has to give them guidance. And so it's a pity that things like, when we're growing up, Ken, I belonged to Boy Scouts. We don't have Boy Scouts anymore, do we? It's there, but it's not active. It's not active. So I'm speaking to the president of Boy Scouts to see how that can be, brought back into, because we need it, obviously. Have you seen the news recently? Is it girls that are plucking girls' eyes? It's not. It's the boys. And so we can't have that anymore. So you can start a movement around that issue. And now, in the age of hashtags, before you know, people start to join into your movement, and that becomes a movement that can go beyond what you even imagine. But you must start a movement if you have an idea and you don't have all the resources. Start it with the hashtag and keep talking about the issue. And before you know, it will become a thing that will take a life of its own. And you will be struggling to find relevance inside your movement that you did, because some people will hijack the movement and run. And that has to be your joy on its own. So I'll tell you what, last 2020, which is now 2 years ago, 2020, I'll tell you what I started, and nobody knows I started this thing, and I feel like I should write a story and tell them, this is how I started this thing, so that people just know. Anyway, See what we did. I'm very bad at directions. Like, I can get lost in this hotel. I got lost when I was coming here, right? I'm the only person that gets lost. I get lost. That's my job. Now, that's not very good if you're selling real estate. It's not very good if you're selling real estate and you get lost. And now you have 100 properties and you don't know where the properties are. And so I decided to use a bit of technology to help myself. And so I would go to a house and I would geotag it when I'm there. And the geotagging is very easy. You open your WhatsApp and you say send location. And I will send you my location while I'm there. And I will write the location. I can write Lifestyle Asset Hub, Guzape 1. And I'll put it there. And I will send it to my group, my real estate group. And it will be there so that whenever I need to go back to that location, I have to just look for, where is that Lifestyle Asset Hub 1? And I will just press it and I will go there. So people were asking me, oh, come and show us that house. I will send them location. They'll say, I know how to use them. I'll say, just press them. Your phone will tell you how to reach there. When you reach there, it will tell you, then you can call me on a video call and I'll confirm that that is where you're supposed to be. And trust me, when I started this, people were resisting and I had to be talking to them individually to tell them this is how it works, this is how you do it, and this is how why you should learn it so that it saves you time. And I was telling them, it saves you time. It saves you time. You don't have to be coming to show somebody land every time. How many fuel you get? Did they change fuel price? And I was talking and talking. Do you know that now is a norm? Yeah. It's a norm. People, you send somebody land, they'll tell you, say, do you have a PIN? Yeah. I didn't come up with the name PIN. The streets came up with the name PIN, but they said, do you have the PIN? And now it's a norm. And I'm like, when I was talking about it, everybody was looking at, say, this man, too, they do Oyibo things. This now for the streets, they do Oyibo things. But now it's a norm. It's a movement that has started. I'm happy for it because now it makes everybody's life easy. Like, I don't have to just say, oh, you want this to show? Go to the land, it's accurate to 3 meters. Go there. When you're there, call me. I will tell you whether you're there or not. Simple. Save everybody time. You can start your own movement. If you have an idea, don't be afraid to share it with the world. If it's going to benefit your industry, don't be afraid to share with the world. It will come back to you in other ways than you can imagine. Are we together? Rounding up, because my time is fast spent. You didn't tell me my time was fast spent. All right, so in summary, let me say this. I want you to not just listen to these lectures today and listen to brilliant speakers. I want you to challenge yourself to live your life as best as you can. Because as an old man once said, he said, when you came into the world, you were crying and everybody around you was smiling and laughing. Conduct yourself so that when you're leaving this world, they are crying, and while you're smiling and laughing. Thank you so much for listening. God bless you.
Can you put your hands together? Can you put your hands together?